live here 1 second.
Sahara.
Shabbat shalom to everybody online too. Everybody that's with us.
Shabbat Shalom.
Let's see here. All right, great. Excellent. So let me get the screen sharing and then we'll get pushing. Okay, so what Negroes need to know about the Medes, part 3. Um, we didn't get to finish this lesson because, we got into the Passover and Feast of Unleavened Bread. All praise to the Most High for that. But we're gonna finish it right now. Just to give people, I guess, a refresher for where we were at. We already spoke about how, well, we already discovered who the Medes are, right? We went in the scriptures and we discovered that so-called Asians, the Medes are so-called Asians, the children of Madai, right? And if you're watching this video for the first time and you have no clue what I'm talking about, go back and watch part 1 and part 2, or read the study notes and you'll understand. So in part 2, in part 1, we established that the Medes were the children of Madai, but the Persians are always also mentioned with the Medes. Especially in the scriptures, you hear the Medes and the Persians, the Medes and the Persians. So what is the biblical name of the Persian? That's what we're going to finish discovering today. Who are these people today? Right? What's their biblical name and who exactly are they today? Right? Just like we discovered the biblical name of the Medes and exactly who they are today. Right? So in part 2, we looked at who the Persians were. We looked at the fact that they were Achaemenian people. We looked at the fact that Achaemenian people, who Esau's scholars names the Achaemenid Empire after, are none other than the people from the family of Achaemenes. You see that? Right? So from the family of Achaemenes, you have the Achaemenid Empire. So, in his usual attempt to deceive, Esau gives the people a different name. They're really Elamite people, right? He called them Persians. He called them Achaemenids. So the unlearned is going to believe these are a set of different people, when really they're the same people, right? And that's what we're going to show through the historical record in scriptures today. So we looked at the fact that the Persians are Achaemenians. Achaemenians are literally people from the family of Achaemenes. We looked at the fact that most scholars support the fact that Achaemenes is a historical figure, even placing him in important battles in the area of Mesopotamia, um, in antiquity, man, right? Then we looked at the fact that Achaemenes was an Elamite, and we pulled out Daniel 2 and Isaiah 21, which we will read again today, towards the end of this lesson, right? And then we got to part 3, right? Showing the last bit of evidence proving that the Persians, who are always mentioned with the Medes, were not the exact same people. Because remember, our main problem was this particular passage here, which I'll read again, where Esau tells you, hey, these are the same people, or they're related to each other, right? Now, we know all nations came from Noah after the flood. So in that sense, they're related, right? But beyond that, there's no relation. You understand? Because the Most High separated all people. And let me see if I have that scripture here. If I do, yeah, great. Yeah, so we'll go through that scripture as well, showing you that even though they came from the same father, the Most High separated them as nations in the same way that we, so-called Negroes, came from the same womb as the so-called white man. But he separated us into nations, one being the Edomites and one being Jacob or the tribes of Israel. Of course, the Negroes being Jacob and the so-called white people being Edomites. Um, the people of the prince of darkness, man, pursuant to Daniel 9:26, Revelation 12, and many other scriptures, Ezekiel 7, and many other scriptures. So here's the sentence that they said, just to remind us where we started this, how we started this whole argument, right? It says here, a Mede, one of an Indo-European people related to Persians. You see that? How are Asians, right? So-called Chinese, just as an example, because Asians include Chinese, Japanese, Native Americans, Filipinos. All these people are Asians. All these people are the children of Japheth. But how can these people be related or directly related, which is what Esau is suggesting, to Elamites, man? These are different people, right? According to the divisions of the nations in Genesis chapter 10, right? And beyond that, also in the book of Sirach, which we will look at later, right? But Esau says, hey, they're one of an Indo-European people and they're related to the Persians, which is a straight up lie. He said they entered northeastern Iran probably as early as the 17th century BC, which means around 1700, century 100, 1700 BC, and settled in the plateau land that came to be known as Medea. Okay, so that's Esau's uh word on the matter. Okay. Um so when we saw that, we went ahead to prove that the Medes were not related to the Persians in the way that Esau is trying to suggest. Okay? And indeed, this is a bag of foolishness. This is an imagination. Esau imagined this. Okay? Um, and according to the scriptures, hey, we spend our time doing what? Casting down imaginations, man. Right? And every high thing that lifts itself against the knowledge of the Most High, right? And there is nobody on earth that lift himself higher against the knowledge of the Most High than the so-called white man, right? Thessalonians, right? Second Thessalonians tells you, um, there is a man that lift up himself against all that is called the Most High and that is worshipped and present himself as God. And we know there's only one man who does this on the planet, man. It's the man that pushes the image of himself as God in the religion called Christianity. And I do have to spell it out for you again, right? Second Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3 and 4 says, let no one deceive you in any way. I'll read the King James Version. Let's go here. Second Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3 and 4, it says, let no man deceive you by any means, right? For that day shall not come, what day? The day of the end. Except what? There come a falling away first. So the Most High people have to fall away first. And what else has happened? The man of sin be revealed. So the man of sin must be revealed. The son of destruction. There is a son of God and there is a son of perdition or destruction, or more accurately, damnation. And it's your oppressor, man. That's the son of damnation, right? If you're watching for the first time and you don't know, that's the big secret. You are the sons of light, you so-called Negroes, and your fraternal twin brother, the so-called European, the so-called white man, is the son of perdition. That's why he hates you. That's why he's been destroying you since time immemorial, and he will not stop until your father put a stop to it. With the help of your big brother, General Yahweh Shai, who's coming to the earth for war, man. You know? It goes on and it says, what does this son of perdition do? He opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped. See that? So he's Zeus, he's uh uh Horus, he's Isis, he's Buddha, he's everyone, man. And it says why? Why is he doing that? So that he as God sit in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God, man. Okay? The man wants to show you that he himself is God, and he does it by subtle brainwashing. He put images of himself as the hero, as the savior, as God himself, all on your TV, in your newspaper, in your scholarly journals, until you intrinsically believe that somehow this man is superior to you and superior and God himself. Because what does he say? There is no God. So if there is no God, and then you have this man presented to you who's so wise and has all the world's knowledge, what are you gonna do? Well, the men are gonna desire his women, the women gonna desire uh the women of other nations gonna desire his men, and the homosexuals, you know how that's gonna go, right? And if they don't desire him, they're certainly gonna desire his lifestyle, which is Hellenism, man. This is no coincidence. Why is it called Hellenism? And then the place where, or the condition that you will exist in eternal damnation is called hell, man. This is not a coincidence because the king of hell is your oppressor, man. He's the Hellenist. Okay? He invented Hellenism. He spread Greek culture throughout the entire world for the destruction of man, starting with their mind. Because once he destroys the mind, he has the body, right? Let's go down to casting down imaginations. So this is what's happening in the world. You're stuck in the matrix, in a dream. You believe we are all one, okay? And God loves everybody, and there is no God, and democracy is gonna save us all. And life is all about education and riches, man. That's an imagination, which the Most High send we, his children, his sons, specifically with his words, to cast down. Life is about the service of the Most High God and humbling yourself before him and his children, man. Right? And doing the words in this Bible, taking on the mind of Christ, man, and letting go the mind of the oppressor, who is the devil and Satan, pursuant to Revelation chapter 12. Verse 1 on down, Daniel 9, like I told you about, Daniel 8, 18 to 24, Daniel 7, 18 to 24, and many other scriptures. It says in 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 5, I'll go from verse 4. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahweh to the pulling down of strongholds, man. Right? So while the world is afraid of nuclear weapons, we have a weapon more terrible than nuclear weapons, man. It's truth. Okay? Truth is able to do what? Cast down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of the Most High. And what else does it do? It brings into captivity every thought to the obedience of Messiah, man. Right? And here's the third piece. And having in a readiness to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled, man. Right? So we cast down imaginations and we keep a ready mind to destroy the enemies of God when our obedience is fulfilled to the Most High. And that happens on Judgment Day. In fact, according to Revelation 13, if you want to call yourself a Christian, quote unquote, which I will never do, and I don't suggest you do either, but if you really wanted to call yourself a follower of Messiah, your faith would be this: He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and faith of the saints. So your whole faith, if you had the right faith, would be the anticipation of the retribution of the Most High against the enslavers of his people, man. Yea, the enslavers and destroyers of the world. Mm. If you were really a saint, this would be what you were waiting for. But you're not. Many of you, right? Many of you are not. Most of you are slaves to the mind of Satan that has been subtly injected into your brain since you've been young. And you cannot wake up because you don't want to wake up. You love it, man. You love the world, you know, and that's a sad place to be, right? All praise to Yahweh. He has had mercy upon our souls, allowing us to be able to wake up from sleep, allowing us to be able to rise from the dead, man, you know, and have this word. May we walk humbly in this word and inspire others to do the same. That being said, we go down to um, part 3, right? Uh, Looking at the language of Elam, right? As um, another one of the evidences to show that Persians, so-called Persians, are really the biblical Elamites, children of Shem. Before we read this, I want to read Genesis 10. Whoops. Savs, if you can give me verse 21 and verse 22 of Genesis 10 here. That would be great.
Unto Shem also.
I can't hear you. You're sounding really muffled. So you gotta fix your mic or something. And speak up a bit, please.
unto Shem also, the father of all the children of Eber, the brother of Japheth the elder, even to him were children born. The children of Shem, Elam and Usher, and Arphaxad, and Lud and Aram.
So the children of Shem, the first one it mentioned is Elam. Okay, that's who the Persians are. The Persians are children of Shem. Okay, Shem is also the father of all the children of Eber. Why does it mention this? Eber or Ibar is the man from whom we get Hebrew. Okay, this was the chosen seed. Okay, that's why it mentions Eber here, because you have to go all the way down to 24 to, for it to talk about Arphaxad having Salah and Salah having Eber. But it mentions him in 21 because he is the chosen seed, the line through which Yahushai, the Prince of Princes, would come. Okay, so that's why it mentions Eber there. The point here being, though, Elam is a child of Shem. Okay, so let's look at some of the evidences we have. It says here, under Elam language, or rather Elamite language, Middle Elamite is considered the classical period of Elamite. I'll say that again. Middle Elamite or Middle Elamite language specifically is considered the classical period of Elamite. Okay, like classical Greece. Okay, um, now this may be talking about the same period. Excuse me. I'm not 100% certain, but 10 chances to 1 it is. And during this period, it would be covered from 510 to 323 BC. Okay, this would be considered the classical period because they named the classical period after the classical Greek period. Okay, which has nothing to do with the actual Greeks who were Japhites, but has everything to do with the Edomites stealing the land of the Japhites that were there before them, the land and the culture, the technology, and all of that, okay, through um uh draconian laws, man. Draco, who draconian laws are named after, realized he could worm into the people's society through law, man. And that's what he did. He had them adopt his his law, his laws, man, that he invented to take power from the royal families and start give it to politicians. And through this, he wormed his way into power in Japhite society, so-called Asian society, in that area, and then ousted them, man, from their land, right? Surprise, surprise. The so-called white man, the so-called European, the so-called Caucasian came in pretending to be at peace and stole somebody's land and culture. Surprise, surprise, big fat surprise. Let's go back here. Okay. Middle Elamite is considered the classical period of Elamite. So again, we're probably looking at 510 to 332 BC. It says the best attested. Attested means that there's evidence, okay? Physical evidence proving, okay? So the best attested variety of what Elamite language or Middle Elamite is Achaemenid Elamite. Pay very careful attention to this family. The Elamite, the Middle Elamite language, we have the most evidence for is Achaemenid Elamite, meaning the Elamite language that Achaemenes and his people and his empire spoke and used. That's the best evidence we have. So hopefully you're starting to see how Achaemenes is not no Mede. He's not no Japhite. He's not no Asian. He's a child of Elam. Okay? Which is why the people of Achaemenes are using the language of Elam. Remember, Achaemenes is just a man. Esau has what's the word I'm looking for? Elevated Achaemenes to the level of a mythical hero, man. When he was just a man. It was not the Achaemenid Empire. Okay? Really, it was an Elamite empire. It wasn't the Davidic Empire. It was the Israelite Empire. It wasn't the Hezekiah Empire. It was the Israelite Empire. Okay? It wasn't the empire of uh I'm looking for one of these Egyptians' names. Akhenaten, it was the Mizraim or Egyptian Empire. So hopefully you guys are seeing the pattern here. Okay. Again, through sly, snaky, slithery words, Esau is always trying to create confusion, to discredit the Most High God and elevate himself to the status of God in your mind, which manifests sin in your body. You want to walk, talk, look like him. Hebrews and other nations are putting blonde hair, which the Bible says is cursed, in their head, man. The women want to wear tight jeans, exposing themselves like the Most High said not to do, man. The men want to put on dresses, and now they want you to call them women and allow them to use the women's washroom, man. It's just total confusion. And last time I checked, the Most High calls Babylon the city of confusion. So hopefully you're starting to see it's confusion that is their main spell, man. Because when you're confused, people could give you anything. Put pork in your bread, put pork in your wine, tell you the Messiah is a Edomite, is a Caucasian, tell you the Most High don't exist, tell you he went to the moon and it's a planet, tell you the earth is a globe and some people are standing upside down right now because of 9.8 meters per second of gravity. The man can tell you anything, right? Tell you how he's able to see light years into the past. Because the speed of light is and because of our calculations, and we're able to see what do you call it, the galactic matter from such and such number of years ago, therefore proving that by physics I'm right. And they hand him a freaking PhD, man. Garbage. right? The Most High has already given us the truth, but we must believe and we must cast out the mind of Satan. Reading on, it says, the best attested variety is Achaemenid Elamite, which was widely used. Here's the kicker. So the Elamite language that Achaemenes spoke, him and his people, it was widely used by the Achaemenid Empire for what? Official inscriptions as well as administrative records. So if they were carving anything in stone for you to remember, they used what do you call it? Achaemenid Elamite language to do it. If they were keeping administrative records, it was written in Achaemenid Elamite. Okay? And it says, and it displays significant Old Persian influence, the Elamite language, this Achaemenid Elamite language displays significant Old Persian influence. Don't get thrown off by the word vomit, right? We're going to break it all down. So my question is, why is the Persian Empire using Elamite language in all their official inscriptions and government records? Why does Achaemenid Elamite have Old Persian influence? Okay, well, it's because so-called, remember, we got here speaking about Persians, okay? Remember, they tell you the Achaemenid Empire is a Persian empire. So what are you guys really telling me? What's happening here in reality is they're using this language because Persians are actually Elamites. What are the Persians doing using a language called Elamite? Because they're Elamites. They're the children of Elam. That's why they're using the language in official inscriptions and in administrative records. This is very significant, family, because this is the language they're using in the government office. If we use our current situation in the world as an example, here's what we're going to end up with. I say here, consider this. When Edomites conquered and colonized various nations, okay, did they begin to use those nations' languages in their official documents and government? So in their official documents and government documents, right? I'll ask again. When Edomites conquered and colonized various nations, did they begin to use those nations' languages in their official documents and in their official and government documents? Anyone? We know the answer. I just want to see where you guys' heads are at.
No.
No. Okay. When Esau came and conquered the natives, for example, he didn't start using the local native language in his official in his administrative records and his government records. Okay. He was using Dutch, Spanish, Portuguese, and so-called Englishmen, and Latin, and French. That's what he was using, the language he came with. Because conquerors don't all of a sudden begin speaking the local people language and doing everything officially in the local people language. That does not happen. They insert their dominance onto the local population. That's what has happened historically. So this is a reliable a point to show that the Achaemenid people, the people of Achaemenes, were actually Elamite people, because that was the official language. The official language was not Achaemenid, okay? It was Elamite, which they also call here Old Persian. It's the same damn language. That they tell you that the Elamite language have significant Old Persian influence. Okay? Why is it so similar? Because they're the same damn people. And the same way English evolved over time, various languages evolved over time as well, adding little phrases from other places or coming up with new words and phrases till you have what you have today. Okay? So I wrote here, no, they don't use the dominated people's languages. Okay? Esau enforced Greek in the Hellenistic period and the Latin languages in the Middle Ages upon the locals, man. And that's not a fairy tale. That happened. They did the same when they colonized the entire world. They brought in their so-called Latin languages and their Greek ways, man, and languages. And that's what they used in their colonies. Okay? That's why all their so-called independent colonies speak English, Spanish, Portuguese, and Dutch. Even now. Forgot French here. Right? There's probably a bit of German going on as well in certain places. Right? Well, well, Russian. I'm thinking of the Russians, but I digress. Because for some reason, now in Russia, you have native Russians, like literally indigenous Russians, speaking what? Russian. Not their own indigenous language, but they have to learn Russian. Or they maybe can't get a passport, they can't get a license to, farm their animals, or whatever other official things they need. Go look it up, man. Now they're using Russian, and that's not their native language, you know. So this is exactly what happened with the Persians who conquered Elam, okay? The Achaemenids, okay, who are Persians, that's exactly what happened when they conquered Elam, beginning with a place called Anshan, which we'll look closely at. Sister Kira, can you read this portion there for me, please? Are you able to see it pretty easily? This here?
What portion? The yellow highlighted?
Just one. The
Oh,
point here, that point one basically.
okay. Um,
Yeah, if you're having trouble seeing it, I can read it. But
oh, no,
yeah.
I can read it. I'm just trying to figure out the pronunciation.
Okay, so that's Anshan there.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the name of the place, Anshan.
Okay. Anshan fell under Paris's Achaemenid rule. People from the geographical area called Paris, who were from the family of Achaemenes, in
Yeah,
the
so
second
sorry, 1 second. So they were from the geographical area called Persis. Okay.
Persis.
Yeah, and that's where that that area is is the namesake of Persian. Let me see if I can pull it up because I had a few images. I don't know why I didn't link them. Let's see, I copy link address. Let me see if I can get this on the big screen. So this is Iranian from Iranian tours, man. See that? Persis, and then right next to Persis, the Persian Gulf. Okay? So we're not imagining things here, family. Okay? We got the receipts, man. Okay? The truth is the truth, and there's no escape. Go ahead, sis.
In the 7th century BC, having been captured by Thespis,
Mm-hmm.
uh, who was an ancestor of Cyrus the Great, and
Mm-hmm.
and styled himself the Great King, King of Ashan.
So stop right there. Cyrus the Great, who is known as an Achaemenid king, okay? A Persian king, called himself the Great King of Anshan. The Elamite um, uh, 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 empire started with Anshan. This shows you because generations after, Cyrus the Great is calling himself the king of Anshan, not Persia. He's using the ancient name by which they know the area and saying, I am the king of Anshan. It's the same place. Okay, go ahead.
For another century during the period of Elamite decline, Anshan was a minor kingdom,
Mhm.
until the Achaemenids of the 6th century BC embarked on a series of conquests from Anshan, which became the nucleus of the Persian Empire.
So
The mo-
stop right there. That's plain. Anshan is the nucleus or the core of the Persian Empire. The Achaemenids, the family of Achaemenes, who are Elamites anyway, begin to conquer from Anshan and build the so-called Persian Empire. Again, Esau will confuse you with words if you don't know what you're looking at. He's naming an Elamite decline as if the Elamites and the people of Achaemenes were any different. What Elamite decline are you talking about, Esau? Achaemenes is an Elamite. So what he did was expand the kingdom of Elam from Anshan all the way to the whole entire world. So it is not the Persian Empire that ruled the world. It's the empire of Elam that ruled the world. Again, it is not the Solomonic Empire, if you put it in terms of Israel, empire um, that has 12 tribes and the Most High loves. It's the empire of Israel. When the Messiah returns and takes rulership of the world by force, it will not be the empire of Yahweh Shai, it will be the Israelite empire because he's an Israelite. The kingdom of Yahweh. And Yah name is in Israel. Yasharal. Yahweh, I believe, is peace, the peace of Yahweh, right? Don't quote me on that. That's about the meaning. You know, yeah. That's the approximate meaning of Yasharal. The point being, Yahweh's name is in the name of the damn kingdom. You know. So this was the Elamite Empire, not the Persian Empire. Somebody coined the term Persian Empire, and everyone started using it. And this is the thing about the historical record. These Edomites have made an absolute mess of the historical record by trying to hide people behind place names. When they come to write about Canada in history, or if they had ever gotten the chance, they would tell you about Canadians. Canadians were here doing this, and Canadians were here doing that. And you would have been erased from the historical record because in the minds of whoever was being brainwashed by them at the time, they would think it was all Edomites, man. Because they're just saying Canadians. Meanwhile, that the whole world is here. The term Persian Empire was not coined by a single person, but rather it emerged from the Greek and Latin use of terms related to the region of Persia, specifically the Achaemenid Empire founded by Cyrus the Great. The Greeks used terms like Persis and Persike in the 5th century BC, so Esau, to refer to the empire, which was later adopted into Latin as Persia. This name stemmed from the Old Persian word Parsa, which was the name of the tribe from which Cyrus the Great emerged, and also the name of the region where they lived, according to Wikipedia and Britannica. Okay, so again, popularized by the Greeks. Okay, when really it's the Empire of Elam. Okay, all right. So, I think you just read this last piece, right? Did you just read this piece here? The most famous conqueror, Sister Kira?
No, I didn't read that part.
Go ahead.
The most famous conqueror who arose from Ashan was Cyrus the Great.
Right. So they just told you the man was from a region called Parsa when we pulled it up quick from the AI. Okay. But we have other historical records letting us know that the man came out of Anshan. Okay. An Elamite land. Okay. Read on.
Evidence of the connection of the Achaemenid Empire can be linked through writings on the Cyrus cylinder, which trace the lineage of Cyrus the Great. Cyrus is referred to as the king of the city of Anshan, and his ancestors as the great king of the city Anshan.
So the man whole line is telling you they come from Anshan. And we know that's a region of Elamite people. Okay. So hopefully you guys are seeing this. All right. So considering that Achaemenes used Elamite language in his government documents, Cyrus called himself the king of Anshan, right? His ancestors um refer to themselves as kings of Anshan. Anshan was the center or the nucleus, okay, of the Persian Empire. Considering these things, it should be easy to see that Persians are actually the children of Elam. Okay, Persians are actually the children of Elam. Okay. Now let's look at these couple of scripts that we pulled up before in order to um, cast this in stone, right? Let's go to Daniel 2, right? We'll read 26 and then we'll read 30 to 40. So, Saz, let me get that. Daniel 2. Um, actually, Brother Chris, if you are able to read, please let me know. Or if there's anybody else who wants to read, please let me know. Daniel 2, we'll read 26 and then we'll read 30 to 40. 26. Going once, going twice. Okay, Sabs, let me get it. Let me get verse 26 and then we'll jump down to 30.
The king
Sabs, you there?
the king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belt Belteshazzar,
Belshazzar. Belshazzar.
Belshazzar, art thou art thou able to make me art thou able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen, and the interpretation thereof?
Right. So this is Nebuchadnezzar, all right. Um asking Daniel when none of his wise men, so-called wise men, were able to tell him the dream he had and the interpretation. He's asking Daniel, so can you do it? These guys couldn't do it. Can you? Right? And Daniel says this to him. Go ahead. From 30. 30 to 40. Go ahead, Sabs. If you're
But as
speaking, I can't hear you.
but as for me, the secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have more than any living, but for their sakes that shall make known the interpretation to the king, and that thou mightest know the thoughts of thy heart.
Mhm.
Thou, O king, sawest and behold a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible.
So stop right there. Daniel says to Nebuchadnezzar, I don't know your dream because I'm wise, wiser than anybody else. But um, I know this dream because basically Yahweh is looking out for me. For their sake that shall make known the interpretation to the king. Okay? So the Most High is showing me your dream for my sake. Because he was gonna kill all the wise men in Babylon, including Daniel. So for Daniel's sake, the Most High showed him the dream. Because the Most High didn't want Daniel to be killed. Also, um, so that the king would know the meaning of the dream. Because Yahweh wanted him to know the meaning of the dream. So for those two reasons, Yahweh showed Daniel the dream, not because Daniel was wiser than any other man. And then he goes on to tell him the dream, right? Read on from 32.
This image's head was of fine gold, and his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet of iron, and part of clay.
Uh-huh.
Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and brake them to pieces. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and came like the chaff of the summer threshing floors, and the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them.
Mm-hmm.
And the stone that smite the image became a great mountain, and filled the whole earth.
Right. Right. So Daniel's telling him exactly what he saw. And this is very, very important, especially the order in which he saw the various pieces of precious metal and earth materials, especially the portion about a small stone destroying the entire statue of Babylon, man. The interpretation is absolutely awesome for this because it shows you that during the time of Daniel, the Most High already showed exactly how the world would end, which kingdoms would destroy it, and what would happen at the very end. There would be a great mountain that would fill the entire earth. This is one of the precepts how we know mountains are metaphors for nations, because the mountain that's gonna fill the whole earth is the mountain of Yahweh through the nation of Israel. Go ahead.
This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Thou, O king, art a king of kings, for the God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power, and strength, and glory.
Uh-huh.
And wheresoever the children of man dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven hath he given into thine hand, and hath made thee ruler over them all.
Right.
Thou art this heat of gold.
This what? This what? Thou art
This
the
heat, this head of gold.
head of gold. That's right. Go ahead.
And after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all
So
the earth.
stop right there. So Daniel told Nebuchadnezzar, your kingdom's gonna rule first, Babylon. You're gonna rule the world. Then another kingdom gonna come after you that's inferior. And then a third one gonna come, and so on and so forth. Okay? So now you can look in history and see, well, who ruled after the Babylonians? And then you can see how the Babylonians fell. And it will tell you exactly who is being spoken of when the Most High refers to the people that conquered the Babylonians, Nebuchadnezzar specifically, right? Go ahead, which we will do. Go ahead, Lord willing. Go ahead.
And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much for as
For as
much as
much,
iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise.
go ahead, go
And
ahead.
whereas and where and whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay, and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron. The king, forasmuch as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay,
Myrically,
miry clay, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken.
go ahead.
And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave to one another, even as iron is not mixed with clay.
And then what's gonna happen? Saba, what's gonna happen?
And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break. But it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever.
You don't.
For as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it brake in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God hath made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. And the dream is certain, and the interpretation therefore sure.
So we're not guessing here, okay? The dream is certain and the interpretation is 100% true. So go back to and read verse actually that's fine. Go back read verse 38 and 39 again.
And whosoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven hath he given into thine hand, and hath made thee ruler over them all. Thou art his head of gold. And after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth.
Right. Now let's go to Isaiah 21. So remember we have the head of gold, and after the head of gold is really a chess piece of silver. And then after that, brass, iron, and then iron and clay. So we're just looking for what kingdom the Most High was talking about that rule after the head of gold. And we'll get it in Isaiah. Let's get from 1 to 10 here, please, Sister Kira.
All right. The burden of the desert, the burden of the desert of the sea, as the whirlwinds in the south pass through, so it cometh from the desert, from a terrible land. A grievous vision is declared unto me. The treacherous dealer dealeth treacherously, and the spoiler spoileth. Go up, O Elam, Besiege. Oh, Media.
Media, yeah.
Media. All the sign thereof have I made to cease.
Okay, so stop right there. The title of this says what, Sister Kira?
Babylon is fallen.
Right. Babylon is fallen. So we're about to read the account of the falling of Babylon, right? And according to the scriptures, who did the Most High send against Babylon? The golden head? Because Nebuchadnezzar, let's make sure we link that up. Where did Nebuchadnezzar rule? Right? Nebuchadnezzar was a warrior king often described as the greatest military leader of the Neo-Babylonian Empire. Nebuchadnezzar was the ruler of where? Anyone?
Babylon.
Babylon. So when you see Babylon is fallen, you're looking at the fall of the golden head. Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom, Babylon. And then the Most High tells you who he sent up. Before we read it again, we're going to check the historical record and ask a question. Who destroyed the Babylonian Empire? The Babylonian Empire was destroyed by the Persian Empire, led by Cyrus the Great. The Persian conquest brought an end to the Neo-Babylonian Empire, giving the Persians control of the Fertile Crescent. Let's see what else. Let me see if I have another receipt here. Herodotus on Cyrus's capture of Babylon. Okay. Achaemenid Empire was okay. In October 539 BC, this is a really good website, by the way, you guys, for learning history. In October 539 BC, the Persian king Cyrus took Babylon. Okay. With the knowledge we have, we know we can read that as the Elamite king Cyrus took Babylon. The ancient capital of an empire covering modern Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and Israel. In a broader sense, Babylon was the ancient world's capital of scholarship and science. The subject provinces soon recognized Cyrus as their legitimate ruler, since he was already lord of peripheral regions in modern Turkey, which is Eastern Europe, and Iran. It is not exaggerated to say that the conquest of Babylonia meant the birth of a true world empire. The Achaemenid Empire was to last for more than 2 centuries, that's 200 years, until it was divided by the successors of the Macedonian king Alexander the Great. Okay? So notice it says the Achaemenid, it calls the Persian Empire the Achaemenid Empire. Or it calls the Persian Empire the Achaemenid Empire. Okay? and says that they are the ones that conquered Babylon. The Medo-Persian Empire is another name for the Persian Empire. I'll read here again. I typed in Medo-Persian Empire. The Medo-Persian Empire, specifically the Achaemenid Empire. Why is it called Medo-Persian Empire? Because it was known as the Empire of the Medes and the Persians. The same thing we read earlier that gave the problem when he said, oh, they were related. And I said, no, they're not related, according to the Most High God. And then we went and showed that they're not related. Okay, we showed in the historical record they're not related. And now we're going to show in the scriptures the Most High makes a clear distinction between them. So you see, in the historical record, sometimes they're called the Medo-Persian Empire. Sometimes they're called the Persian Empire. Sometimes they're called the Achaemenid Empire. It's all the same empire. They have 3 different names for Esau's comfortable confusion. So he can charge you 40 grand to go to school to learn the difference and give you a qualification for you to go in his institutions and continue to spread his lies as if you're smart. This man is diabolical, sinister. The sinister minister is him. Because what God's saying, there's no truth in him. All he has is deceptions, and deceptions always look very much like truth, but they're not. So I wanted to let you guys see that the Achaemenid Empire or Persian Empire is the exact same thing as the the Medo-Persian Empire, Achaemenid Empire, and Persian Empire are all the exact same thing. Okay. Why is this important? It's important for what we're about to read here. Let me get it again, please, Sister Kira.
Continue.
Give me verse 2 again.
Okay. A grievous vision is declared unto me. The treacherous dealer dealeth treacherously, and the spoiler spoileth. Go up, O Elam, besiege, O Media, and the sighing thereof have I made to cease.
Yeah, all the sighing thereof have I made to cease. So who did God send against Babylon? According to this scripture, which nations did the Most High send to destroy Babylon? Ancient Neo-Babylonian Empire. We read in the historical record that it was the Achaemenid, which is the Neo-Persian, Achaemenid, which is the Medo-Persian, which is the same as the Persian Empire. Okay? That's what we read in the historical record. Now we're reading in the Bible. What did the Most High call them? Anyone? It's in verse 2. What did the Most High call the conquerors of Babylon? Who did he specifically send to destroy them?
Elam,
Elam.
Yep. And who else?
Media,
Yeah,
And the Medes.
that's right. So that's why you see in the historical record, Medo-Persian Empire. This is 100% proof that Persians are Elamites. That's who they are. God said he sent Elam and Media, the children of Madai, and the children of Elam to destroy Babylon. The historical record calls them the Medes and Persians and said they were related. God says that's a lie. I know who Elam is, I know who Media is, and I sent them to destroy Babylon. The people of Madai and the people of Elam worked together to destroy the Babylonians. Okay? That's what really happened. And it's here in Isaiah 21, verse 2. Read on. We're going to go until verse 10. How are we doing for time? Let's see here. 1 second. Wow. Jeez. Okay. Go ahead, sis. We have about a half hour left. Go ahead. Go ahead, Sister Kira, from verse 3 there.
Therefore are my loins filled with pain. Pangs have taken hold upon me, as the pangs of a woman that tra-
Travails.
travails,
For travaileth, sorry.
travaileth.
Yeah.
I was bowed down at the hearing of it. I was dismayed at the seeing of it.
Mhm.
My heart panted. Fearfulness affrighted me.
Mhm.
The night of my pleasure hath he turned into fear unto me.
Right.
Prepare the table, watch in the watchtower, eat, drink, arise, ye princes, and anoint the shield.
So the most I say, get up and go oil up your shield, man. Go, get up and go oil up your shield, cause it's destruction coming for you. Go ahead.
For
Listen.
thus, sorry, for
Sorry
the,
about that. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
it's okay. For thus hath um Yahweh said unto me, Go, set a watchman, let him declare what he seeth.
Mhm.
And he saw a chariot with a couple of horsemen, a chariot of asses, and a chariot of camels. And he hearkened diligently with much heed.
Mhm.
And he cried, A lion, my lord, I stand continually upon the watchtower in the daytime, and I am set in my ward whole nights. And behold, here cometh a chariot of men with a couple of horsemen. And he answered and said, Babylon is fallen, and all the graven images of her gods he hath broken onto the ground.
Mhm.
O my threshing, and the corn of my floor, that which I have heard Yahweh of hosts, the God of Israel, have I declared unto you.
Right. So Isaiah said, listen, man, the thing I heard from Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, that's what I told you. I'm not making this up. This ain't no rumor. And we see history um, confirms that Elam and Media went up and destroyed the Babylonian kingdom. Okay, the head of gold. All right. The next world power after the Babylonian Empire was the Achaemenid Empire, which we just read about. So without a doubt, it is they who Yahweh was talking about here in Isaiah the 21st chapter, right? So let's see. Earlier, I remember I said that even though Shem, Ham, and Japheth, the three children of Noah, are all Noah's children. They all came from the same dad. The Most High separated the nations. And then we looked at a short portion of Genesis 10 that proves that, right? We're gonna add Sirach to it, and we're gonna read just another small portion of Genesis 10 to more to kind of hammer the point home. Because I showed you guys Genesis 10 to show that Elam was of Shem, but we didn't read the part where the Most High tells you that these people are actually separated in this way into different nations, even though they are three brothers. Their posterity was separated into distinct nations, the nations of Shem, the nations of Ham, and the nations of Japheth. And we are one of the nations of Shem, the children of Eber, the Hebrews. So reading from Genesis 10 here, I'll go from verse 2. I'll go from verse 1. Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and unto them were sons born after the flood. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras. The sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, Ripha, and Togarmah. So when they tell you about Ashkenazi Jews, they're just naming them after the region. These guys are Edomites. There's no such thing as an Ashkenazi Jew. There's a unless you're talking about Negroes born in Ashkenaz, okay? But what these people are talking about is not valid, okay? Because Ashkenaz is Japheth's child. So if you're an Ashkenazi, you're either Japheth's child or you're somebody else born in the land of Japheth being called after the name of that land, which happened all throughout the Bible. They tell you about a Shilonite. If anyone remembers the exact word, please let me know. A Shilonite woman that was helped, I think, by I want to say, what's the brother's name? Oh my gosh. They called Yahushai the same as him. Elijah. I might be mixing things up. In any case, it talks about Shilonite people, but they were Israelites. They talk about Ruth being what do they call Ruth? Oh my gosh, what land did they say Ruth was from? What land did they say Ruth was from? I'll tell you guys in a sec. Hold on. Moabite. They call Ruth a Moabite. But Ruth was a Moabite because she lived in Moab, but she was an Israelite woman. And we know this because Boaz was a righteous Israelite man according to the word of Yahweh, and he wouldn't have married a non-Israelite as a righteous man because he knows that's against the law. Okay, so going back to Genesis just to show these divisions of brothers were actually national divisions, okay? So they were still brothers, but they were certainly not of the same nation. It says here, the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, Ripha, Togarmah, sons of Javan, Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, Dodanim. Today, Cyprus is still known as Kittim. Tarshish is still considered to be in Europe. I believe it's Spain, southern Spain. Okay. It says, by these were the isles of the Gentiles divided. That's the isles of the Mediterranean Sea. By these were they divided in their lands, everyone after his tongue, which is a language. So these people had different languages. Everyone is also divided after their families. Divided by who? The the Most High God in their nations. So the Most High consider these people various nations. If we read down a bit, he says the same thing of Ham. In verse 6, he says the sons of Ham, and he begins to list them. Cush, Mizraim. Mizraim is the Egyptian. Put Canaan, and so on. And then at the end of this account of them, he says, these are the sons of Ham, after their families, after their tongues, which is languages, in their countries, and in their nations. So these are the nations of Ham. And he does the same for the Shemites. Okay. So the people are divided by the hand of Yahweh. We'll read Sirach 33, 10 to 13. Let's see. Let me get that, please, Sabs. Verse 10 to 13. Sabs, you there? Okay, I'll read it. Actually, Sister Kara, can you pick that up for me, please?
Sure.
Verse 10 to verse 13, please.
Okay. And all men are from the ground, and Adam was created of earth. In much knowledge uh Yahweh hath divided them, and made their ways diverse.
So stop right there. What happened to the men that the Most High made? He said they're all the same, and we all bleed red. Is that what Yahweh said?
No.
No. The Bible says, in much knowledge, Yahweh divided men. Why did he divide them? Because it was wise to do so. In his infinite knowledge, he divided men. He didn't unify them. That's why we know this doctrine of unity of all is a satanic doctrine. It goes directly against the words of the Most High. Yahweh divided men. Men will never be unified. It's not gonna happen. Even when Yahweh Shai comes back, people will still be divided into their various nations. And everyone is gonna return to their own land. Because he put Japheth where he put them for a reason, Shem and Ham. He put them there for a particular reason, right? Because he is wise and there are things they need to do. So he divided them. But Esau, being a deceiver, a rebel, and an agent of the prince of the kingdom of the air, is preaching all day, every day, unity, destroying mankind. And not to a small extent, the Israelite. Because the Israelite, out of all people especially, supposed to stick to their own people in matters of marriage and family, you know. That being said, in much knowledge have Yahweh divided them. Not only did he divide them, he made their ways diverse, man. So the Most High made sure, you know, Edomites are liars, man. And that's what they do. Israelites, you know, are the form, the what you call the former of all things, right? They have certain strengths, sending people to the moon, pioneering surgeries, creating inventions that they never got any credit for. He made Japheth and gave Japheth his talents as a merchant and a maker of things. The Most High divided all people and he made their ways different. He did it. That's why he tell you every man uh loveth his neighbor, and a man will cleave to his like. Meaning, if you're the same people, you best believe you're gonna crowd together. I gotta read that. So that's a big scripture. How do I duplicate this? There's a way to duplicate these tabs. There we go. Please bear with me. This is Sirach 13. There's in 16, from 13. Observe and take good heed, for thou walkest in peril of thy overthrowing when thou hearest these things. Awake in thy sleep. Love Yahweh all thy life and call upon him for salvation. Every beast loveth his like, and every man loveth his neighbor. We know your neighbor according to I believe it's Leviticus 19:18 is the children of your people. The Most High say, every beast loveth his like, every man loveth his neighbor. All flesh consorteth according to kind. And this is proven because the same species of fish hang out. Octopus, squid, dog, cat, cattle, sheep, wolf, ant, worm, mole, beaver, deer, you name it. All like creatures divide themselves according to kind. And he says, a man will cleave to his like, man. What fellowship have the wolf with the lamb? So the sinner with the godly. Okay, so another good way to be able to tell who is who they really drawn to and hang out with all the time. Right? If in your phone is mostly black people, chances are you're black. If your phone have mostly white people, chances are you're white. If your phone have mostly Hispanics, chances are you're Hispanic, native, so on and so forth. Okay. Going back to this in Ecclesiasticus 33. Finish up for me, please, Sister Kira. So verse 11, it said, the Most High made man's ways diverse, and he himself divide them. So ain't no unifying man. Stop being antichrist, man. Stop working against the laws of and the laws and wisdom of the Most High God. Stop trying to unify people. There's no unity. If the Most High tell you when you follow in His word, even the people of your own house gonna be your enemies. Where's the unity? Right? It certainly isn't as you imagine. Unity comes from a foundation of righteousness. That's where the unity comes. 144,000, righteous versus the evil. That's where the unity comes. Cleaving to your like. That's where the unity comes. Okay? In your nation, in your tongue, in your lands. Go ahead, Sister Kira, from 12.
Some of them hath he blessed and exalted, and some of them he sanctified and set near himself.
No, all of them. All of them he blessed and exalt and sanctify and set near himself.
No, some.
It said some. So if a man say all, that's a lie from Satan. Go ahead.
And set near himself.
Uh-huh.
But some of them he hath cursed and brought low, and turned out of their places.
The Most High blessed everyone? No.
No.
The scriptures tell us plainly, some people, God cursed them. He bring them low and he turn them out of their place. And Israelites are certainly not cursed people. In fact, there's one cursed man, the son of perdition, who the Most High will destroy when he returns, pursuant to Obadiah, the first chapter, and verse 18. Pursuant to Revelation 12. Pursuant to Daniel 8, verse 24 on down. He shall be broken without hand, for he's a cursed man. Hebrews 12, 16 and 17 tell you that man beg and plead for the birthright after he sell it, and the Most High say no. And we know he practiced too much wickedness against God's holy people, and that's why he has been rejected. Hebrews 12, from verse 16 to 17, you'll never hear this in your church. The Most High has rejected and cursed certain people. The Edomite, your oppressor, the so-called Caucasian. The man trying to tell you he's God is actually cursed by God. And all praise to the Most High for that, because how dare you with your arrogant self, man. Your slithery, snaky, disgusting, lying lips, man. And your cursed hair, buddy. Who the hell do you think you are, man? The Most High will deal with your case because you feel like nobody can deal with your case. Well, the Most High reserved you for him, the same way he reserved the Egyptian to drown them in the sea, man. This is a Hebrews 12, from verse 16 to 17, telling you the Most High has rejected the oppressor. He says, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, man. What is Esau? A fornicator and a profane person. That's what Yahweh says. Who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. So the Most High remember that. A little piece of food you sell your birthright for, and your birthright is the inheritance of the world. For you know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected. For he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears, man. And this is a metaphor for Esau's spiritual state. He cannot find a place of repentance, even though he seek it carefully with tears, because he sold the rulership of the world for a pot of soup, man. Not even a pot, a bowl of soup. And said, what the hell is this inheritance? I'm about to dead from starvation. Take it. And instead of trying to honestly buy it back from Jacob, he actually was going to go get it from his father anyway, after he sold it legally. Till the Most High make Jacob mother ensure he get the blessing. Because Esau was going to thief it after he sell it. He was going to double cross him in the deal, which is his habit. In every deal he make, there's a double cross. Read any contract you sign with Esau. There's a double cross in there for you. You know? Anyways, I digress. Some of them he blessed, some of them he cursed and turned out of their places. Esau is cursed and turned out of his place. Go ahead and read verse 13 for me, please, sis.
So look upon all the works of the Most High.
No, verse 13.
Oh, sorry. As the clay in the potter's hand, to fashion it at his
Hold
pleasure.
on, start over.
Okay. As the clay is in the potter's hand, to fashion it at his pleasure, so man is in the hand of him that made him, to render to them as liketh him best.
That's it. Okay. So you can't tell God what to do. He's the potter. And he made man how he chose to make man, according to his pleasure. Romans 9 uh, uh, echoes this in verse 14, I believe. Tells you who are you. After it says he hates Esau, he says, so what you're gonna say is the Most High unrighteous? And then it goes on to say this very same thing we just read in a different way. Verse 13, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with God? God forbid. For he saith unto Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. So then it is not of him that willeth, nor of him that runneth, but of Yahweh that showeth mercy. Um, And then in verse 20, from verse 19 it says, thou wilt say then unto me, why doth yet he find fault? Because he made people how he made them, for who have resisted his will. And then the brother says, nay, but O man, who art thou that repliest against the Most High? Which mean the same thing that we just read. The Most High is the creator and he do what he feel like. Shall the thing formed say to him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus? Have not the potter power over the clay of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and another to dishonor? And this shows you how the disciples knew the book of Sirach, man, that we just read. But yet the devil took it out of the Bible, man, to hide the truth. He's quoting Sirach. The Most High is the potter. He have power over the clay, man. And he make one to honor and he make the other one to dishonor. Somebody have to be the wash pot, the posy, the night, what they call it, the night pot. You guys know what I'm saying. When they didn't have toilets in your house, somebody have to be we call it posy in St. Lucia. I don't know what people call it in other countries. Right? The night basin or whatever the heck it's called. You guys get it. You need to take a pee in the night, you pee in that. Somebody have to be that in the house. And that's Esau. Somebody has to be the posy. And that's Esau. Sorry, not sorry. I'm just glad I'm not the posy. Right? You have a vessel of wrath, if you read on here, and vessels of mercy. And all praise to Yahweh that he has made us the vessels of mercy. Okay, so I wanted to bring that out so people can see that Yahweh divided nations, man. Right? Even nations that come from the same womb. See how we're doing for time? Damn. We only have about 5 minutes. Hopefully this is enough time. So that's it. Right? The Medes are the children of Madai, the so-called Asians. The Persians are Elamites, children of Elam. Okay? A picture is worth 1,000 words. let's look at some photos, of some historical records and some current photos to see the difference between these Medes and these Persians. Okay. So difference between Scythian and Median. Okay, so right here in this relief, we have both of them pictured, a Median and a Persian and a Scythian. Sorry, yeah. Really, really it's a Persian and a Median. Okay, if you guys get what I'm saying, right? They call them Median warriors. Why? Because of the Medo-Persian Empire. So really, they should say Scythian and Persian, or Scythian and Elamite. Okay, so there's no confusion. So again, they're calling them Median warriors because the people that took over after the Babylonians were the Medo-Persian, it was the Medo-Persian Empire, okay? Made up of the children of Madai and the children of Elam. Why is this important? Scythians are considered uh, Medes, children of Madai, Asians, okay? And this man that they're calling a Median is really a Persian. So here we can see a clear difference between the two. One has curly, bouncy curl, and one have straight hair. Okay. One have his little chinky eye, one not so chinky. Okay. So yeah, I'm not trying to be insulting. I'm talking how we speak back home. One have the little gnome hat, okay, which is a huge mark of the Scythians and their people, the children of Madai. And one have his little round hat on his head. Eventually, these guys start to kind of use this fashion, make yeah, they begin to kind of use this fashion, but you can still tell the difference with the hair. Scythians, of course, Medes, of course, Japhites, of course, known as horsemen. That's their thing. Okay. And if I'm not mistaken, these guys are the reason that horses are in America, because America didn't have no horses. Okay, people had to bring them here. So who would bring them here? The horsemen, the Japhites, known for horse taming, breeding for millennia. Here's another picture. Um, says here a relief depicting. See if I can zoom in a bit. A relief depicting men bearing tribute to the Persian emperor. So you guys can see I'm not lying. We just looked at a similar picture. They call these Scythians and Medes. This guy is leading these people, these so-called Scythians, to who? To the Persian emperor, right? Because who they're calling Medes here are actually Persians. A relief depicting men bearing tributes to the Persian emperor on the eastern staircase leading to Apadana Palace at Persepolis in Iran. Persepolis was the ceremonial capital of the Achaemenid Empire. Ceremonial, not actual. Ceremonial, okay? Darius the Great was the third king of the Achaemenid Empire. He, the Great, built the greatest palace at Persepolis in the western side. Okay, so again, this is the people of Darius and leading men that we know to be from the last illustration, children of Madai, to to the emperor. Okay, Scythians. Okay, they have a similar conical hat. They got the same straight beard, straight hair. Okay, um, their different outfits. Okay, their horsemen pants. All right, which is a striking mark of these people, man. Right? They would wear these pants as horse riders, man. Most people were wearing tunics. These guys were rocking the pants. Ancient Elamite, aka Persian look. Let's see. Notice curly beard, open eyes, low cheekbone, and convex nose in the ancient Elamite. All right, here's a close-up for you guys. Whoops. Persian god. Right? Achaemenid 486 at the bottom of the photo I'm reading. 486 to 465 BC in limestone. All right. And it's in the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston. A Persian god. An Elamite guard. Okay. Let's see here. Exhibit B for the ancient Elamite. A figure in procession. Observe the curly beard and hair. Right? Whoops. Can't get any bigger than that. Oh, here we go. Oh, this is a nice one. Right? So there's ancient Elam, man, with his bouncy curl. It's crazy. In the stone carvings, they give the Hebrews um straight dreadlocks. They show you, man, that the Hebrews had dreadlocks. So I don't know where these fake Israelites going with the two curls at the side of their head, man. When man had dreadlocks in their whole head. No beeswax needed, right? No hair gel, man. This is from National Geographic. The relief of two figures can be seen in ancient Achaemenid capital of Persepolis. So this is carved in Persepolis, in what is now Shiraz, Iran. In 1979, UNESCO declared the ruins of Persepolis a World Heritage Site. So two Persians, two Elamite people. Remember I told you guys they started rocking the conical hat? There it is, right? They made a version. Ancient Japhite, aka median look. So I already proved that Japhites are Asians. Here's some artifacts showing what they look like. This look would apply to the Medes, who are also the children of Japheth. So Exhibit A, Scythian, i.e. Japhite king, Skilor. Okay, so this is, we're about to look at the bust of a Scythian king, a Japhite king, an Asian king by the name of Skilor. He's a blood relative of the Medes. Right? There he is. Hopefully you guys can see the Asian features. This guy reminds me of somebody. Does this guy remind you guys of any Asian that you know about in the historical record? Especially you, Brother Chris. Does this guy remind you of anyone? You there? Anybody here know, um, does this guy remind anyone of any historical figure that they know who's Asian? Guess not. He doesn't really look like him, but he kind of reminds me of Genghis Khan. That's who he reminds me of, right? You can see the face shape of the Asian in this guy. Here especially, the eye area especially around here. Um, and it tells you here when you translate that this is a king by the name of Skiller. Scythian king Skiller. Okay. And this is actually a really good article to read when you have some time. Two Scythian men, right? Hopefully you guys can see the Asian features. Sister Akira, notice anything? Notice any Asian features on these men?
I see a lot of it. This is a random one, but it's sort of like in their ears.
Word. What do you see in the ears?
They're larger, but they're also lower and sort of hanging, and that's like a really like noticeable like Asian feature.
Yeah, and I think we're actually gonna see it in a few of these especially modern day pictures that I have. After these pictures, we're wrapping up. But yeah, I also see it very obvious in the eye, especially this guy here, right? That low cheekbone, the yeah, that distinct shape of the eye. Yeah. And then of course I know from a study that conical hat is a huge mark of theirs. Okay. Right? And history says these guys are Scythians. What else we got here? There's another Scythian idol statue. Okay. Scythian jewelry from its own depository at the State of Hermitage Museum, Gold Depository, and the latest finds of UFA archaeological expedition. Okay. And again, look at the features of the men. They're with their horses. Okay. The old Fu Manchu. I think that's what it's called, the mustache. Again, looking at the features here. Even down to this hat, man. We see it in the Kung Fu movies all the time. And this style, the robe style, the bald head with the little hat on top. Scythian, they say, right? So we know these are the children of Madai, the Asian. And here it's very easy to see, right? The eye feature, um, the distance from the nose, the cheekbone, and we're gonna start to see the conical hat. And we're gonna start to see what do you call it? The pants, okay? Their pants, their shoes. Relief of Scythians wearing pointed caps, tribute frieze, apadana stairway facade in Persepolis. Okay, so these are the Scythians. Mycenaean. Mycenaeans are also ancient. Mycenaeans are ancient Greeks. We looked at this before, so I'll just be quick about this. It's just for the sake of those who've never seen. This is a Mycenaean funerary mask. with the Asian eye. Mask of Agamemnon. Okay, again, old rustic Asian man, right? The ears, the eyes, again, the cheeks, the mouth, the straight hair. Excuse me. Excuse me. Here's a mortar female head. Excuse me. From 1300 BC. You can't tell me that mouth and, and those features is not your classic Asian woman at the store, man. Selling you the conveniences, man, or the Chinese food. There she is in 1300 BC, working. Okay, so we're gonna look at the Japhite, aka Median look today. The Medo in the Medo-Persian Empire were the Asians, the children of Madai. So here in Exhibit A, we see similar features as the Scythian Exhibit E. Is the Scythian Exhibit E. Let's look at this guy here. His nose is a little bit different, a little bit more upturned. But the crazy thing is, where is it? Where is it? You'll see in a second. Somebody with the very same downturned uh nose is coming up. Look at the eye, the distance from the nose, the cheek, the mouth. Hopefully you see. Similar bump nose and beak as the Scythian Exhibit E. Here's the one I was looking at. So Exhibit E, oh man. Okay, here we go. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. Let's compare this guy here. Same cheek, similar eye, same mouth. This guy just has a bump nose. This guy has a bump with a beak going down. This guy has a bump with a little round thing. This man has the exact beak though. But he's a tiny bit more pronounced. Similar to Mycenian artifact B and C. Mycenian artifact B. Especially this guy. Where is the C? Oh, Hopefully we can see. And then we have finally where is it? Oh no, two more. No, yeah, finally. We have the Elamite, aka Persian look today, right? We're gonna play a quick game with this. Watch this. So exhibit a curly-haired group A man. Okay, so we have two groups, group A and group B, and you guys, I want you guys to tell me who these people are. Okay, if they are Persians or if they are Indian. Okay, if you have a pen, grab it and do it, or you guys could just do it on the line. Is this guy Persian or is this guy Indian?
Indian.
Okay, you said Indian. Okay. Um,
Persian.
what did you say, Sabs?
A Persian.
Okay, so Sabas said Persian, you said Indian. Is this guy Indian or Persian? Go ahead, you guys. Is this guy Indian or Persian?
Persian?
Okay, you said Persian. Anybody else? Okay, well, hold Persian. Whoever said Persian, then remember you said Exhibit B was Persian. Exhibit C, Persian or Indian?
Persian.
Okay, Persian or Indian?
Indian.
All right. So remember what you said, eh? Okay. So group A, men are all Indians, and group B, men are all Iranian, which is Persian. Okay. Group A, it says is all Indian. So who said did somebody say Persian for this guy?
Mm-hmm.
Who said Persian?
Me.
So that's an Indian man.
Oh, okay.
Okay. This is another Indian man. I'm pretty sure people said Indian. That was easy. Right, Saba? I think you said Persian here, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, this man's Indian. And what did you say for here? I think
Persian.
we what
Persian.
guess did we get here?
A Persian.
Yeah, and that was correct. Yeah. And then people said Indian for this. But this guy's actually uh Iranian. So he's not Persian at all. Sorry, he's not Indian, right? The reason I did this is to show that these guys are the same people. Okay? They both come from Elam. They're both children of Elam. Okay? The people they call Indians are actually Elamite people or Persian people. And sometimes you can't tell the difference. Like it, especially in this guy. right? You think this guy's Indian, but he's actually a so-called Iranian or a so-called Persian, but they're the same people. In any case, in conclusion, Negroes need to know, what do Negroes need to know about the Medes? Negroes need to know that Medes and Persians are not the same people. The Medes are Japhites, aka Asians. That is Asians, while the Persians would be Elamites, who come from Shem, right? They would be Indians and Iranians of today. All right. So all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem HaMashiach Yahweh Shai. That's all I got for today. For those watching on online, just watching the video. What do you call it? Be sure to follow us if you want to learn the truth, man, about the Most High God. If you are a so-called Negro, you are the biblical Israelite, and your purpose is to serve the Most High God, man. And he tells you that in Romans 9, from verse 1 to verse 7, Christ died for you. Luke chapter 1, verse 68 to 72. Matthew 15, verse 24, all these things in the KJV, right? To the nations who fear God, who are not of the children of Israel, you need to hold on to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High as taught by his people who have no interest in getting rich off of you. We're interested in you pleasing the Most High God. That's who you need to learn from, and that's pursuant to Psalm 147, verse 19 and verse 20. And to the oppressor, the so-called Caucasian, the so-called European, the Most High has reserved for you death and destruction, according to Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 18. And you shall surely have it at his hand. Isaiah chapter 14 as well, from verse 1 all the way down. That's it, right? So the notes will be in the description if you want to go over this for yourself and stay in touch with us. Okay, I'm stopping the live stream. We're just gonna pray and then we'll be out.